All right. So what's up? You having a good day?
Awesome day, buddy. Got a lot accomplished.
Good. All right. Well, we're going to jump right into this. All right. So you were able to listen to the video?
Yeah, I listened to it while I was doing the yard work. I got the whole scenario.
Okay. So now let me explain to you what I'm doing. I'm going to ask you some questions. Some of my questions are going to be yes or no. If you insist on not answering yes or no's, then just let me know ahead of time. But that's how I need it to go. I'm definitely going to control the conversation, but I don't want to control. I don't want to control you at all. I want you to say exactly what you feel, what you think, what you believe, and I'm going to present anything to you if I need to have you to see it another way, but I'm not going to try to convince you or change your mind. But if I introduce something new that you didn't know and it causes you to at least change your mind, or if I make something more clear, then of course, share your opinion. So I'm going to definitely control the conversation, but feel free to say what you want to say. I'm going to sometimes ask you yes or no questions, even if I ask a yes or no and you can explain, but not at the time that I ask the yes or no.
I got you.
Other than that, we're just going to rock. So I'm going to ask your opinion of what you heard, and then I'm going to ask you some specific questions. So to get off the bat right off, what do you think about what you heard in general?
Well, I thought the conversation, the interview that you had with the young lady was very interesting, number one. Now, after listening to it, I thought that both people had good points of view. I did tend to think that, as you said, you control the conversation. I kind of felt like you maybe guided her a little bit. And at the end of the interview, I think she kind of, how can I put it? I guess she decided to go along with your opinion.
Do you think she was being genuine, or was she just trying to get rid of me?
I think she wasn't being genuine.
She was not?
Nope. I don't think she was.
Why do you think she was not?
I think you made some valid points, but I think she went along with your opinion because your style of interviewing was maybe a little bit too aggressive for her mentality. Okay.
So you don't think she was being honest in when she said she agrees with me?
I would say 50%, half and half.
Okay. If you had to give me a yes or no, did she genuinely agree with me, or did she not genuinely? No. She genuinely did not agree with me.
I would say no. I would say no. I would say no.
Okay. Based on what you heard, did I present enough information based on principles and facts to make a point? Now, I'm clear that she had her feelings, and she had her thoughts, and she had her beliefs, which I'm not arguing at all. I had the same feelings, thoughts, and beliefs. But my point, I guess, is did I present enough information? Because remember, I'm basing what I was presenting on facts, based on the dictionary, based on principles and facts, and no feelings at all. Did I present enough? Go ahead.
I think you presented her the facts, and the facts persuaded her away from what she believed in.
So, which was more dominating, the facts or her beliefs?
I think the facts.
Why do you think she just went along? Why do you think she didn't? Because clearly, if you say she said it just to go along, she didn't believe what I presented.
Well, I feel like she felt like you was more abreast on what the facts was than she was, and she felt like your knowledge on the subject was a little bit better than hers. So she felt like she, at the end of the day, would agree with you because she didn't know the facts, so she just went along with it.
Okay. So my question is, did I So she wasn't being genuine. She was just going along with it. So you think after hanging up the phone, after I presented all the facts, she still was not. She didn't see my point. You don't. Do you think she saw my point?
I think when she got off the phone, she maybe saw your point, but she's still gonna believe what she believes.
So she didn't care about what was truth and facts. She was just strong on her beliefs.
Correct.
Well, what do you think about that? When a person don't care about what's true or what's facts, just what they believe matters. What do you think about that personally?
I think personally that when a person stands firm on a subject, they're supposed to have their own mind, because anybody can interpret facts however they want to. Because anybody can interpret facts however they want to. Because anybody can interpret facts however they want to. And it's up to the individual on how they see things.
Now, you just said something that's going to take us off point, and that's okay. You're saying that a person can interpret facts the way they want?
Right.
How? But can if you interpret facts how you want,
Because when you're dealing with facts, there's always a loophole in there. There's always a loophole in there. There's always a loophole in there.
How can there be a loophole in facts?
When you're having a discussion about facts, everybody perceives facts in a different way. So everybody's interpretation of the facts is not going to be the same.
Well, I'm not arguing that at all. I'm not, because that is clearly why I am having these types of conversations, because I believe that facts cannot be argued. If you argue facts, then I don't believe in right or wrong. But if there was ever going to be a wrong and you argue facts, then that would be wrong. So for instance, let me give you an example. If I tell you that it's raining outside, and if you run across the street, you are going to get wet.
Right.
And is that a fact or not?
That's a fact.
What difference does it matter how you interpret it?
Well, the difference is the subject that you was talking about. Well, the difference is the subject that you was talking about. Well, the difference is the subject that you was talking about.
Well, just that. Well, so we're not the subject. The fact is, if you go outside in the rain with a fur coat on and no umbrella or no hat,
you're still gonna get wet.
That's a fact. That's a fact, right? So,
right.
What difference does it make if you say I may not get wet? Is that intelligence or is that stupid?
If I say I'm not going to get wet in this rain, that's stupid.
Okay, so then that's my point. You can't interpret facts. Facts are facts. Facts are not left to interpretation. And if you interpret facts, then you're either stupid or you're being difficult, or disingenuous is the new word for me. So facts cannot be changed, and like I used to think that principles and facts were the same thing, and I learned based on the dictionary that there's a slight difference in it. So when I say principles, there are certain things. If gravity will pull you down unless you have a parachute or jet rocket, you're gonna fall if you're on Earth. So that's a fact. That's a principle. Spring is gonna come after the wintertime. That's a fact, right?
No doubt.
And summer is going to come after spring. That's a fact, right?
Way of the world.
Okay, so then what difference does it make if you interpret it different?
Because your facts came from something that was written by man.
So the fact that summer comes after spring is written...
No. We're talking about the conversation that y'all had.
No. I'm talking about facts now in general.
Right. What I'm trying to tell you is y'all's conversation was not necessarily completely based upon facts and how a person interpreted it.
I understand that, but I'm trying to get the definition of...
When you talk about is it raining or is the sun out or does it get dark at a certain time? Of course, all that is facts. So that's just natural.
Okay, now I think I see what you're saying. So let me just speak to what I think you're saying. When when you have a conversation with somebody and you have facts and then you have principles, everybody has to have we have to have a ground that we can and in the legal field they call it a reasonable expectation. So the dictionary, would you agree that the dictionary is a good place for Americans and common people to reason? If a word is in the dictionary, because I know the dictionary.
I think it's a base for thought.
Right, but you got to have somewhere to start.
But the reason I say it's a base for thought, because the dictionary was written by a man or a woman.
But no one's
human being.
That's not for argument. I'm going to agree with you on that. The reason we're having a conversation is to get to a point. So if you make a statement that I don't disagree with, then we're on the same page. What I'm saying is,
can I clarify?
Sure.
If you take something out of the dictionary and you say that is a fact, that does not mean I believe it's a fact.
Fine. And I agree with you on that. So we don't have a problem with that. But if we're
no problem.
Okay, if we're going to have a conversation, you and I have got to have a place of reason. If I can quote the Bible, the Bible says, let's reason together. The Bible says, two can't walk together unless they agree. Now, when you and I, if we come together on this earth as humans and we're trying to build a community, we've got to have some basic things that we agree on.
Yeah, of course.
So we may not see them the same way, but the dictionary is one of those things that for the most part, we make up words based on the alphabet and the sounds of the alphabet and and that's how you get the English language, based on the ABCs first and then how you read. So you can't speak English fluently and write it unless you have the ABCs, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we got to reason with that. Now, I can start coming up with my own language, Ebonics, but Ebonics is not based on how we learn in grade school, so we can understand that.
That's basically slang.
Right. But when I say, okay, English language, Ebonics is not, would you agree that Ebonics is or is not English?
It's not English.
It's a form of English. Right?
It's a form of English, but it's not accepted in professional society.
Okay, good. So we're on the same page. So my point is this. When you have a conversation and when you're dealing, you got to be reasonable and what is a reasonable expectation. So if I have a conversation with you and I use the word, as I did in this conversation, discrimination, the word discrimination in the dictionary is all we have. How you feel about it is a whole nother thing. If we're going to go on how you feel, then we're going to always argue. But we've got to find a reference point. So if
what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my interpretation of discrimination.
Well, your interpretation of discrimination is being based on how you feel or what's in the dictionary?
No, it's based on what my brain tells me that interpretation is. Everybody is not going to see what you read on a piece of paper in the dictionary. Everybody has different intellectual levels. Some people don't read at the same level.
I agree with you.
Interpret it the same way.
All right, I agree with you.
My reasoning of reading what these words say may not be the same as a person who reads on the 8th grade level.
I am not. Everything that you're saying is not. I'm not debating at all. I would agree with you 100%. I guess I'm trying to make this point, and that's what I want to try to stay focused on. If we're gonna have a conversation, we've got to have a reference points of a reasoning. So we may as well not even have a conversation even tonight if we can't use the dictionary. We're both college graduates. We're both intelligent people, so we can say that the dictionary is a good reference point in understanding communication.
Yeah, it's a basis for how people understand the English language. Yeah, it's a basis for how people understand the English language. Yeah, it's a basis for how people understand the English language.
Okay, that's my point. So I'm going to the dictionary. Although the dictionary is written by man, we still need to use it. Now, when you talk about, there are different kinds of principles and there are different kinds of facts. And we know that the seasons, those are things that have nothing to do with man. We just figured them out. But as a man, as community, in order for us to agree in the United States and the world and in our homes and our communities, we got to have a foundation. A husband and a wife have got to at least agree that we're exclusive to each other. That's an understanding. That's a reference point that we don't have other sex partners. So that's a reference point.
Of course.
So we got to agree. So the dictionary, when me and you are having a conversation, we've got to make the dictionary, because we're educated. We're college educated. We're educated in the same school system. So the dictionary has got to have some weight.
Of course.
Okay, so that's my point.
That's where your words come from.
Okay, so of course dictionaries have different meaning. They have a primary meaning, they have a secondary meaning, and there are a lot of words and a lot of situations that are similar, but they're different, and we'll cover that later in the conversation. But we're trying to get the understanding of how we're going to reason in having a conversation.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm going to try to get back to the point, because we're off a little bit right now.
Yeah, get back to me.
Okay, so yeah, so is there a difference in controlling a conversation and controlling a person? Yes or no?
Yes, it is a difference.
Okay. Are you 100% sure that there is a difference in controlling a person and controlling a conversation?
There's a very strict difference.
Okay. Now, my next question is, do you agree that there are similarities in controlling a person and controlling a conversation?
I wouldn't think so.
Not the same, but similarities.
I wouldn't think so. Not
Okay.
at all.
Okay. So there's definitely a clear-cut difference, no similarities whatsoever in your mind of controlling a conversation and controlling a person.
A person can do an interview with an individual and they can control the conversation, but you can't control the person. And they can control the conversation, but you can't control the person. And they can control the conversation, but you can't control the person.
Okay, so now, based on that logic, did I control her or did I control the conversation?
I think you control the conversation.
Okay, so you said that she went along with it. Why? Because she wasn't intelligent enough to understand principles and facts?
No, I would not say that she was intelligent enough. I think that you have a certain type of skill with communication where it gives you the ability to guide the conversation where you want it to go.
So let me ask you this. This is another question. I was going to ask you this question later, but I'm going to ask it now since we're on it. Mm-hmm. Do you think, this is a yes or no question, is there a difference between manipulation and persuading? Yes or no?
I think it's the same thing.
Okay, let me ask it again. I need a yes or no. When you said I think it's the same thing, that's another question.
Well, the answer is no then.
Okay, so let me ask you, and so we can stay in sequence. Is there a difference between manipulation and persuading?
Nope.
There is absolutely no difference. No difference whatsoever. Or you're saying they are the exact same thing?
They are the exact same thing.
Okay. What if I told you the dictionary said they were different? Would you want to stop and look it up so that before we have the conversation and see if there's a difference?
Nope, I certainly wouldn't.
Why not?
Because I'm intelligent enough that I don't need a dictionary to know if a person is trying to manipulate me or trying to guide me in a certain direction. It's the same thing.
So, what is the opposite? Okay, so wait a minute. So you don't want to, if I'm telling you now that in the dictionary, because I looked it up, there is a clear difference. There's a clear difference.
Tell me the definition.
Okay, manipulation is more, it has a more negative connotation to it. If I'm manipulating you, that means I'm telling you something that's based on deception. That's me telling you something that's based on for my gain. So if I'm manipulating you, I'm lying to you, I'm cunning you, I'm jiving you, I'm trying to get you to do something I want to do for my gain only. If
what was the other word that you said?
Persuading. If I'm persuading you, that means it's more for your gain. I'm providing you with truth and facts and more information to cause you to look at it in a different way, but I'm giving you truth. I'm not lying to you. I'm not deceiving you. I'm not hiding anything from you, but I am trying to convince you. So as I said, there are similarities, but there's a clear-cut difference. So the difference is...
I think it's all about the intention.
Well, that's why I'm saying there's a difference. You got to have a reference point. The dictionary gives two different meanings because one has one intention, one is based on deception, and the other one is based on truth. So I know
it's a slim shade in that because I could deceive you and manipulate you, but it could also be for a good reason, not to hurt you.
I know.
Help you.
I understand. We're not splitting hairs. We're talking about the basic meaning, and we got to have a reference point. So I understand.
Well, see, when you talk about reference point, that's not something I believe in.
Well, we gotta, in order for us to have a conversation, we gotta have a reasonable expectation of what words mean. And the dictionary
we could talk about it, but still at the end of the day, I can say, all right, our class reunion is coming up. I can talk to certain people on the telephone and say, I'm going to have a tailgate party, and I will use my popularity, and I can manipulate them to send me money to buy food, drinks, or whatever for the tailgate party, but it's not for a bad reason. So did I actually manipulate her or that person, or did I do the other thing? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? No.
Right. So then which one would it be? Would you manipulate which and based on that example, which word is more based on the dictionary? And I just explained to you the difference in those two words. If you
said manipulate, what's the other one?
And persuading, to persuade someone.
I think I did both.
Well, I'm not saying you didn't do both. We're trying to get to the bottom so that we can differentiate the difference.
What I'm trying to explain to you is I see them both as the same.
I know you see them both as the same. I'm not looking at how you see it.
Because you can look at the dictionary's definition of it. You can easily persuade a person to do wrong too.
I know, but
you can manipulate a person to do right.
I know. Everything you say, I'm agreeing with. When you make a point, I'm agreeing with you. You're just not agreeing with me. And I'm providing you with information that's proof that there's a difference.
No, it's not about agreeing or disagreeing with you. I'm just telling you that you have two words that have similar meanings, but they both can be used the same way.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with that. I agree with you. So you just made a point that was, I don't know why you made the point, but I agree with you, but that's not my point. My point is focusing on the difference. And there is a difference. There are similarities, but there is a clear-cut difference. And if you are going to use the word, and if you're going to be more meaningful in your using of the word, if I use the word manipulate according to the dictionary, and if I use the word persuade according to the dictionary, if I'm making a different point, I'm going to use a different word. So you are insisting.
You know what I think it is? At the end of the day, I think it's intent.
Well, I'm trying to get away from what you think. What you think is not what I'm trying to focus on, because I can think.
Look at the dictionary and see the meaning of intent then.
Well, now we're changing the conversation. Intent is not a part of our conversation right now.
It's not changing the conversation. You asked the difference between the two. It could be either one is just whatever the person who is involved is wanting out of it. You could want negative or you want positive.
Well, I just said that. You're repeating what I said. I'm trying to get you to see that. So you just confirming that there's a difference, but you won't say it. You're saying they're the same.
There's a difference.
Okay, so
I can persuade you to do something for a negative reason or a positive reason.
I agree with you on that.
And the other word, I could persuade, I could
manipulate.
do this. I could manipulate you for a good reason, or a bad reason.
But for the fifth time, I agree with you on that.
So you tell me what's the difference.
I'm telling you, I just told you the difference. You want me to tell you again?
You told me what the dictionary said.
Well, I also said that we've got to have a.
Does that make it right though? You told me what the dictionary said.
Well, I also said that we've got to have a.
Does that make it right though? You told me what the dictionary said.
Well, I also said that we've got to have a.
Does that make it right though?
We're not talking about right and wrong. We've got to have a reference points that we both can have a reasonable expectation, and we all agree that the dictionary is a good, strong, solid reference point. The dictionary's got to have some kind of meaning.
I think it has its meaning, but I don't think it's 100%.
We're not talking about 100%. We're talking about a place to reason. We're talking about a place to reason. We got to have a place.
The reason I say that is because we have a term that's called synonyms, where you have one word mean more than one word.
We're not talking about synonyms. That's not. You just introduced something totally different.
When you talk about persuading,
I just said clearly that they are similar. I know they are similar. I agree. You keep trying to confirm that they're similar. I know they're similar, but they're not the same. Okay, let me ask you another question. Stop everything.
Go ahead.
Is there a difference between same and similar? Yes or no?
No. Go ahead.
Is there a difference between same and similar? Yes or no?
No. Go ahead.
Is there a difference between same and similar? Yes or no?
No. Yeah, there's a very big difference.
Okay, just listen to my question. Is there yes or no? Is there a difference between same and similar?
There's a difference.
Okay. Now, there's a difference between persuading and manipulating. They are very similar. I agree. They are similar. But according to the dictionary and the fact that they are said differently, spelled differently, and they have a slightly different meaning, I'm only focusing on that small difference so that we can have a reference point of understanding the difference. I agree 100%. Okay. Let me finish my point. I agree that
all thing I will ask you is the small difference, negative and positive.
If you're manipulating, it's mostly associated with negativity. If you're persuading someone, it's mostly associated with positive. It's more positive.
I don't agree with that, though.
Well, you don't have to agree with it. Do you agree with the dictionary? So are you going to...
Not really.
No,
I don't agree with it.
Okay, so then if we can't at least let the dictionary be a starting point, we're wasting our time on this particular topic, because you're telling me that you don't want the dictionary to be a reference point in a conversation between two college graduates in America.
Well, I can accept it and we can roll on with it.
Well, I don't want you to do like her. I don't want you to accept and roll on.
No, I'm not going to be like her because I'm not that way.
Okay, well then that's what you just said.
I'm sensible enough to understand the difference, though.
Well, then you just said they're the same.
But I can find flaws in it.
I'm not looking for flaws. We're looking for a difference, the same or similar. Is there a difference between manipulating and persuading? Yes or no?
Nope.
Okay, so based on this conversation, I'll go on to the next, because what's actually happening right now is we are not going to ever be able to see eye to eye because we don't have a reference point, and the dictionary...
Yeah, okay, bring it back.
Bring what back?
Bring it back to the difference. I will do it intellectually instead of just finding flaws.
Well, I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and we've got to have a reference point. We don't have to agree, but we've got to understand that if the dictionary says something, that we both have got to let the dictionary be our guide.
There's a difference between the two according to the dictionary.
Okay, so you are agreeing with that now. Do you realize that you said it wasn't no difference in the beginning?
I spoke on interpretation, but we'll let that go.
Well, I'm not asking you for your interpretation yet. Remember, I told you that.
But I'm gonna go according to what the dictionary says there.
Well, that's got to be our point of reference. We've got to find a place of reasoning. Remember, I said reasonable expectation. That covers all of that.
All right, we'll play it like this here. Manipulation is negative. Persuasion is positive.
Okay, thank you so much for seeing that. So,
oh yeah.
Based on that conversation I had with her, did I manipulate her or did I persuade her?
I think you persuaded her.
Are you sure?
I don't think that you had no bad interpretation as far as the way you talked to her, the way you got the conversation. I think you made your point, and you made a point well enough that she was willing to go along with what you said.
Well, then she didn't do it just to go along with me. She went along with it because I put facts out there that she could not dispute anymore. She removed her...
That was fact that she believed.
Say it again?
I feel like that was facts that she just believed.
What was facts that she believed?
Well, you talked about discrimination and all this and all that, you know.
Discrimination and preference.
And you gave a good point of reference about the whole conversation, and you persuaded her to see it your way.
Right. It wasn't my way. I didn't have a way. My personal opinion was not included in this. So when you say my way, I didn't persuade her for my way. I persuaded her based on facts and principles, and I don't have anything to do with facts and principles. And facts and principles, according to the dictionary, is what I was pointing out to her. So it wasn't my way. It was what the dictionary said about it.
If you'd asked me them same questions, you'd got a totally different answer.
Fine. I'm going to ask you some of the same questions. I have a whole ton of questions to ask you, but we're stuck on this, and I'm okay that we're stuck on this because we've got to get out of first gear before we can go to second, third, fourth, and fifth. So,
what keeps us in first gear then?
Because based on your first answer initially, you felt like I didn't give her an opportunity to express or explain herself clearly. Oh, yeah. You gave her plenty of time to express herself. But that's not what you said in the beginning. Initially, you felt like...
You cut her off, though.
Well, I did cut her off. And do you realize that each time I cut her off, it's because she was doing what I asked her not to do? I said to you, and I'm saying it even in this conversation, I am controlling the conversation because right now, if you start talking about swinging a golf club, I'm going to say, hold on, that's not part of our topic. So I will cut you off.
It might have been the way that you did it.
Well, the way I did it is still irrelevant to the fact that we needed to stay on point. Now, if that's a whole nother conversation if we start talking about how. I'm not on the phone to be nice to her or to anyone. We're having a conversation about principles, facts, and realization. So how I talk, I always get in trouble about being direct, and I know that. I need to get in the prayer line about being soft.
No, you shouldn't. Because I'm a direct person.
Okay, well then when you say the way I said it, I can't be responsible for the way I said it if I'm presenting realization, truth, and facts. So was it the way I said it or what I said? And if it's the way I said it, then she was soft and she was weak.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. No disrespect to the young lady because I don't know her, but I felt like that she was weak.
Why was she weak? I don't think she was weak. I think she had...
She let you persuade her.
But how can you can't let... Listen... If that she didn't let me persuade her, I gave her information that clearly caused her to change her view. She didn't let me. Listen, you presented her some facts, as you say. Right. So that wasn't me. That doesn't mean she was weak.
But it's still up to her if she agreed with it or not.
Of course it was, but you can't disagree with proof and facts. And if you do, you're a moron. You just said it's stupid.
How does something that is a dictionary, is that truly fact? Because I listened to y'all's
Well, as I said,
What the subject was about.
well, the dictionary, according to the word discrimination, what I presented to her, is a dictionary meaning. It is to treat someone a certain way based on sex, religion, age, or creed, something they can't help.
Right.
So based on that dictionary, I discriminated. Whether it was acceptable,
I don't think it is.
we're not at that point. And I don't want what you think. What you think, I don't care two squats about. I don't care about what you think. And I'm not talking about what I think. What I did was discriminated according to the dictionary. And if we're going to let the dictionary be at least our reference point, you've got to honor that. So whether you think I did or not is irrelevant. Did I or did I not?
Did you or did you not what?
Discriminate.
You didn't discriminate.
Tell me how I didn't discriminate. And I'm going to interrupt you. Hold on. Listen, I'm not trying to be nice right now. And if I make you mad or something, then you can cuss at me.
Not at all. I know what this is all about. We're good.
Okay, so if I need to interrupt you, just let me interrupt you for the sake of time. I am going to say to you before you speak, I definitely discriminated according to the dictionary. I want you to tell me how I didn't discriminate.
The reason you didn't discriminate is because you wanted a female masseuse, correct?
Correct.
All right. You're paying your hard-earned money. That is a place of business. They are providing a service to whoever comes in there that wants a massage. Now, if the place only had male masseuse, that's one thing. But if you have both female and male, then as a patron, you should have your choice on who provides the service to you because you're paying your money. It's the same as if I go to Burger King and I ask for a Whopper with cheese, no pickles or tomatoes. I ask for what I wanted because I'm going to pay for it. Now, if you're going to give me a Whopper with pickles and tomatoes on it anyway, then that's not what I asked for. So I have the right and I have the choice to either buy that sandwich or leave.
And that's your answer to why I didn't discriminate.
Because you paying for what you wanted. Now, if it had been a massage place that only had male masseuse, and you go popping up in there and you say, I don't want no massage because y'all don't have no females, then that is being discriminatory. But if you have a choice, if they got male masseuses, they got female masseuses, you're paying your money, you have the right to ask for which one that you want to give you your massage.
You said that 3 times and I get it. Is that your answer as to why you don't feel I discriminated?
That's why I feel you don't discriminate. Now, if it had been, like I said, only one sex there.
I got that.
Okay.
So that's your answer as to why I didn't discriminate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm going to explain to you why I did, and you tell me if there is a difference.
Go ahead.
The definition of discrimination, according to the dictionary, is when you make a decision or you treat someone, because you can't discriminate against a Whopper. You know, I know that that's preference and that's choice, and we're not talking about
But you could discriminate against the person who fixed it, though.
Well, that's a whole different scenario. You didn't say the person. You're talking about something they did, and we're not. That's another conversation.
We're talking about people, though.
Okay, but we're talking to people in a different. That's not the same thing. So let's just don't talk about the Whopper. Let's just talk about. Yeah, because that's a whole nother thing. So, according to the definition of discrimination, as we know it, it's based on treating someone differently or treating someone based on their color, their religion, or their gender. Do you agree with that?
I agree.
If I decide I'm not going to give you a job because you are a black man, am I discriminating or not?
Yes, you are.
If I decide I'm not going to give you a job because you are a man and not a woman, is that discriminating or not?
Yes, it is.
Okay, if I discriminate against you, if I don't give you a job because you're a Muslim and I'm Buddhist, is that discrimination?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you know why I decided that I did? Do you know why I turned down that service on that day that I went to the massage therapy clinic?
Why?
Because it was a man.
That's fine.
What do you mean that's fine?
That's fine.
That's fine?
Yes, it is fine for one reason.
Wait, hold on. You just no. Don't give me the reason yet.
It's fine. I'll wait on you.
Okay. You say it's fine, but you just said if I don't give someone a job because they are a man or a woman, that's discrimination. I turned down service because that was a man. Why is that fine?
Because you're paying.
Well, other people that will come.
The simple fact that you are paying, you're spending your money, that means you have a choice of what you want to spend your money on.
But no one, every time you tell me that, I'm not disagreeing with that. That doesn't have any, whether you pay or not. If I decide I'm not going to, if I run a business and I say I am not going to treat the people that come in here that are black, I'm going to charge them more money. The people that's
because you're providing a service, you're not paying.
We're talking about discrimination. It doesn't matter who's providing the service. If I'm discriminating based on someone's gender, that's what the definition of discrimination means.
Nah, I don't see it that way.
It ain't about how you see it. I'm not talking about how you see it. The definition says if you treat someone based on their gender, why aren't you giving the dictionary any kind of power here? That's what I'm doing.
Listening to your interview, you didn't want that guy to give you a massage, right?
Listening to the interview, I refused the service. Okay. That's what you said, and there's some truth in what you.
He came out there. What's his name? Jamie.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. What if it had been Jim?
What difference does it make what the name is?
Because if you feel like it was discrimination,
I don't have to feel like it. It's not a feeling; it's a fact.
If you do not want a man to massage you, that's your choice. You don't even have to go in the building first.
I am not disputing that. I am agreeing with you that it's my choice. Every time
it's not discrimination.
Okay, so we've got two things that we don't agree on that I'm gonna, just because of the sake of time, I'm just gonna go. You are insisting that although the dictionary says it is, you're insisting that I'm not.
Well, I'll tell you just like this here. I have an appointment to go to massage parlor in Fayetteville Valentine's Saturday. And I specifically told them I do not want a man to massage me. That is my choice.
So
because I'm paying.
Based on that logic, I own a public business. Let's just say I work for the government, or I own it. Let's just say I'm the manager. I'm the hiring person. And I turn you down. I say you can't have this job. I don't tell you this, but my reason for not hiring you is because you're black. Is that discrimination or not?
Yeah, that is discrimination.
Okay, but what if I say I don't have a problem with black people? It's just my choice. I just don't want.
I don't have a problem with men, but I don't want them to touch me. That's not discrimination.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do?
I have a right, if I'm gonna spend my money, to decide who puts their hands on me and who doesn't.
Every time you say that, I agree with you. I am not disagreeing with what you're saying. Everything you're saying is not, I'm not arguing it. But you refuse to agree with me or anyone giving someone treatment based on their gender is not discrimination. Why must you not see what the dictionary said? You are refusing to agree with me because of how you feel and how you see it. But the dictionary, and that's our point of reference, clearly says that when you make a decision on sex, what if I went in there and said the same thing? Oh, I found out that this person that's giving me a massage is Muslim. I don't want no Muslims giving me a massage.
I wouldn't care.
Well, we ain't. Once again, you're talking about what you feel. You're still in your feelings and your thoughts and your beliefs.
It's not about what you feel. It's about when you spend your money. It's about what you want.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to stop we've got two conversations that we were kind of not in agreement on, and we can keep going down. You don't seem to be interested in allowing the dictionary to be the reference point. And even though, just for the sake of this conversation, let it be. But I'm okay.
Because it's in the dictionary doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Because it's in the dictionary doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Because it's in the dictionary doesn't necessarily mean it's right.
I didn't say. Listen. But we agree that the dictionary is a strong reference point, and we've got to have a place of reason.
It's words. It's a reference. It's words.
Okay, so then. Let's agree that we end this part of the conversation on those two things. You didn't see that there was a difference between manipulating and persuading. You also don't think that there is a difference between discrimination based on gender. So especially in this case, so we've got two things that we don't quite agree on, and I think you said you agreed on that.
Well,
just
the only thing I will say about when you get to the point of gender, I have to throw in the part about money. That's the only thing.
Okay, listen, what I'm trying to do now is close out that we're just going to just be in indifference with this. You don't see it. I've clearly pointed out to you how it is,
But to use the dictionary, you can't persuade me.
Okay. So the dictionary doesn't mean anything to you, only when it's convenient for you?
No, it don't mean nothing to me, period. No, it don't mean nothing to me, period. No, it don't mean nothing to me, period.
Really?
It's just words. It's just words. It's something that's written by man. I'm a man. I have my own beliefs. And even though this conversation is not about beliefs, it's supposed to be based on facts. But at the end of the day, do you believe those facts?
Whether you believe a fact or not is irrelevant. As we said in the beginning, whether you believe you're going to get wet or not, you can sound like a moron by saying you don't think you're going to get wet. But the facts.
But that's nature, though. If I go into a place of business and...
Okay, this is what I want to do. Listen, I got you don't have to go through it again. Let's agree to stop on it right now. We just see it differently on this, and that's just going to wait the way it's going to be. Regardless of the fact that I have proven to you and I have given you solid facts, you still...
You haven't proven anything to me.
I haven't?
No, you haven't.
So the dictionary... doesn't mean so we agree that the dictionary would be a strong reference point. We've got to find, in order for you and me to have a conversation and dwell in society, we've got to have hold on. We've got to have some things that we can at least call what they are a reasonable expectation. That you are a college graduate, just like I am.
We have to have a boundary line.
Well, we didn't get through college without the dictionary. We couldn't have turned in any of our assignments. We can't even communicate without having a basic foundation of what certain words mean. People feel differently about different words, but I'm not into feelings. The dictionary...
Since you said that, now when you do a dissertation or a thesis or whatever, you turn it into your professor, they're gonna grade it, but they're gonna still grade it upon their opinion.
You are now getting into a whole nother conversation, and I'm gonna try.
But I'm telling you the truth though.
I'm not disputing that. Everything you say to me, I'm not arguing. We're off point, and every time you make a point, I'm in agreement with you 100%. But it's clear, it's clear that you are going to insist that how you feel is more dominant than what I've been able to make clear to you. So your feelings are dominating.
I'm going to say feeling is perception.
Yeah, your perception and your feelings too are both dominating the facts that I presented, and it's okay.
Well, let me ask you. Can I ask you just one question before we sign off?
We're not signing off. We're going on to the next conversation. I've got some more questions. We're stuck at. We're still in first gear.
Oh, go ahead though. I'm with you.
No, well, you got a question because I'm ready to go on. We're gonna keep going.
Well, if you don't have time for the question, I'll say.
I have time for the question. I'm just admitting that we're off the subject and we're kind of done with it. If you have another question, I don't want to. I don't want to be that controlling. And if you got a little extra.
My question to you is this right here. All right, you take a person who reads at a college level, and you take a person who reads at an 8th grade level, and we will use the Bible as a reference, just like you use the dictionary. You know what I'm saying? You got me?
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, you take a person who reads on 8th grade level, they might not even interpret the meaning of the words the same way a college graduate would. So, are they going to get the same meaning out of what they read as you or I would?
Probably not.
So, how can you hold them in the same way that you would hold our conversation if you had this same interview with a person of, I guess you would say, lesser education?
Because regardless of your education,
the questions are still the same.
Fine. You're talking about another conversation. If we're talking about a person who is either illiterate or not to that point, they're not held to the same standards.
They don't necessarily have to be. They don't have to be illiterate.
Okay,
they could be a high school graduate.
Fine. This is my point. Let me just answer you by saying this: ignorance is no excuse to the law, or facts, or principles. Certain principles. So just because a person is ignorant, it still doesn't change facts. So if a person
don't have to be ignorant.
Well, I'm not saying they do. If they don't know, fine.
They could be a high school graduate.
If you don't,
be a college graduate.
Fine. If they don't know the meaning, the definition of words, it still doesn't change the definition of the word just because they don't know. And that's what ignorant means. If they're ignorant.
No. I wouldn't say ignorant.
You don't have to say it. I'm just saying, well, we'll change it and say if just because they don't know. If they don't know, the words still don't change.
Right, that's correct.
So if they don't know, then that's an opportunity for them to be enlightened. And that's why you have communication, and that's why you have conversations so that people can be brought up to speed. Just like her. She clearly didn't know what discrimination was. By the time I pointed it out to her, she was okay based on that definition. I'm pointing it out to you. You are insisting that it's not the same. So we already left that. If you don't have nothing else to...
I know what discrimination is. It's just I may see it differently.
Well, how you see it is not my focal point. What it is the focal point. And how you see it, you're trying to still inject how you see it.
And then it goes back to the point of how I interpret what it says.
Okay, let's just, for the 5th time, I'm going to try to go, we're going to leave this subject alone. We just see it differently. Okay. And I'm going to go to the next, I'm going to go to the next part. So we're done with that. You have no more questions on and discrimination and preference. You have no more conversation on manipulating and persuading.
No, we're good.
Okay, so now here's my next question. Scenario. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And I want you to answer them just the way I ask you, okay? All right?
Yes or no, or do you want dialect?
Well, yeah, I'm going to explain a situation to you, and I want you to answer. I'm going to ask you the same thing, but I'm going to answer it in a different way. But I want answers to both of them, okay? Okay, here's my scenario. Do you believe a man can jump head first off the top of the Empire State Building and land on the concrete without a helmet or a mattress or any kind of protection? Just head to concrete off the top of the Empire State and get up and walk away. Do you believe that a man can do that? Yes or no?
Nope.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Do you believe it's possible that a man could sustain that same kind of fall and get up and walk away?
Nope.
It's not even possible.
I wouldn't think so.
Okay, so your answer is no.
Correct.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Okay, let me ask you this. Are those the same two questions, yes or no? Did I just ask?
The same question.
So you think I just asked you the same question?
You just rephrased it.
I know. So this is my question. Did I just ask you the exact same question, yes or no?
Yes.
You're 100% sure that I asked you the same question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you again just to be sure?
Say it again.
First question. Do you believe a man can jump head first off the Empire State Building, hit his head on the concrete, and get up and walk away? Yes or no?
No.
Next question. Is it possible that a man can jump head first, land on the concrete, and get up and walk away?
Yeah, because you didn't say the Empire State Building.
Okay. If he
could jump out the first floor of a building.
Okay, I did mean that, and you're right, I didn't say it. Thanks for holding me accountable for what I say, and I apologize. So I'll restate the same thing again. First question. Can a man jump off the Empire State Building head first onto the concrete and get up and walk away? Yes or no?
No.
Second question. Is it possible?
Let's go back. There's other factors that are involved in that.
Okay. Don't add any other factors. No. Listen to the question. I didn't know. Hold on. Listen to my question. Listen to the question. No parachute, no protection. I said no protection. And I said the top.
That's not what I'm saying, though.
Okay. Just listen to the question. If you don't understand the question, then I'll restate it for you.
I understand the question, but it's a trick question.
Okay, if you think it's a quick trick question, then you still have a yes or no to respond. Listen to the question again.
Go ahead.
Do you believe that a man can jump head first off the top of the Empire State Building with no protection whatsoever from the top of the Empire State Building all the way down and land head first onto the concrete and get up and walk away? Yes or no?
No.
Next question. Is it possible that a man can sustain that very same fall and get up and walk away?
You want a yes or no answer?
I want you to answer my question. Is it possible that a man can sustain that fall and get up and walk away?
Yes, it is possible.
Would you bet on it?
Yeah, I bet on it.
You would bet that a man can take that fall and get up and walk away?
Because of the way you phrased the question.
You would bet. Wait, hold on.
Your second question didn't say he jumped off the top.
Well, when I say sustain the same fall, I didn't say similar fall. Same means jumping off the top.
Well, if it's the same fall, I would say no.
Okay, you see, we got confusion in there. So this is the fourth time now.
No confusion.
It is to me. It's confusing. I'm confused. I'm confused.
No.
I'm confused.
No, I'm gonna correct you.
But I don't want you to correct me. I want to correct myself. I want to ask the question again.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Do you believe a man can jump head first off the top of the Empire State Building and come all the way down from the top head first and land on the concrete and get up and walk away? Yes or no? Do you believe a man can do that? Yes or no?
See, now you're asking a question that technically doesn't make any sense.
Well, I didn't ask you if it made sense.
I have to say that before.
You don't have to say that, and I didn't ask you for any reason. I asked you a yes or no for
But
that.
I can't answer that question logically, though.
I didn't ask you to ask it logically. I asked you to answer the question based on facts and principles and based on your your intelligence.
Well, upon my intelligence, the question is no answer.
No answer?
Right.
Okay, so tell me why you refuse to give me an answer to a question that's clear.
Because there's no Empire State Building anymore.
There isn't?
Nope.
Where happened to the Empire?
Remember 9/11?
That was the World Trade. That wasn't Empire State.
Okay, well, Empire State Building, I would say no both times then.
Oh my God. Can I start over? Because I really need clear answers.
We'll go back again.
Okay, I'm going to go back again. Do you believe a man can jump head first off the top of the Empire State Building and fall all the way down to the concrete on the ground where it doesn't go any farther? On the ground. Right. Do you believe a man can jump there, land head first, and get up and walk away? Do you believe that? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, now listen to the next question.
Go ahead.
Is it possible that a man can sustain, have that same fall and get up? Right. The question is it possible that a man can sustain that type of fall and get up and walk away? Can complete that same kind of fall? Head first. Everything is the same. He hit his head on the concrete. I said head first. See how you confusing me now? Now I got to start over again.
I'm not trying to confuse you.
Yeah, I didn't say you're trying to, but if you answer anything other than what I ask you, it confuses me. And I have a reason for asking you the question for a clear and cut answer. So my question again, I don't ask for no reason. I didn't ask for your reason. I didn't ask for your explanation yet, sir. I did not ask for your explanation.
No.
Well, now, know what? Because now I'm confused.
He cannot jump off the Empire State Building and land head first, even if he got a helmet on.
Okay, that was the first question. Now I won't ask the first one over because you said no. Listen carefully to the second question, okay? Okay?
I got you.
Is it possible that a man can take that same fall and get up and walk away? Is it possible?
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Would you bet on it?
That's a trick question.
That's a yes or no. Would you bet on a man having that fall and getting up and walk away?
If I know you want a yes or no answer.
Well, then give me a yes or no then, because you're confusing me every time you talk.
Yes. Yes, it can.
You would bet. So you would bet on that?
Yeah.
You would bet that a man can get up and walk away from that fall?
Yeah, certainly would.
How much would you bet on that? Because I want to bet with you.
I'd bet $1 million.
That a man would take that kind of fall and get up and walk away?
Yeah, certainly.
And you're a college graduate? And you're intelligent and you actually believe that?
Very intelligent, because the way you schemed the question, you ain't waiting for my reason.
Okay. So your answer is yes, it's possible. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you would
it is possible.
And you would bet on it.
Yes, I would.
And you would bet $1 million on that.
If I had it, yes, I would.
Okay. Now explain it to me.
What if they had a parachute?
I just told you with no protection. I said the same sustain, the same fall.
The first question.
I said the same fall. No, I didn't. I was very clear with you. I got it on tape.
No, you wasn't. Not the second question.
The same. I said it. This is like the
First question I said no. He cannot jump off the top of the Empire State Building, land head first with a helmet on and walk away. I said no.
I said no protection whatsoever. None. No parachute, no nothing. Why are you adding a parachute in?
A parachute is not protection.
I didn't say it was.
Headwear is protection.
I said head first. Head first doesn't include you don't come down head first with a parachute.
All right, well then the answer is no then.
Do you realize that you changed like 5 different times? Do you realize I've asked you?
I changed because you didn't give a direct answer.
I've got it recorded. I did give you direct and specific.
I got it recorded.
So you're saying that I didn't give you direct answer?
First question. Man jump off the Empire State Building with a helmet on, land head first, will he walk away? I said no.
I didn't say with a helmet on. I didn't say with a helmet on. I said head first
said
with
no protection.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Say the same question again.
Are you asking me because you don't remember?
No. I want you to say it again.
Is it possible that a man can take that exact fall and get up and walk away? Is it possible?
No, I would say no then.
Okay. So you're saying...
Maybe I heard you the wrong way.
Okay. Well, I said the same thing every time. Every time I said the same thing.
I heard you the wrong way.
I'm sure you did, and that's the point I'm proving. What you heard instead of what I actually said.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, my next question is, and this is a yes or no. Are those 2 questions the same? Yes or no? They had the same answer. I'm asking you, are the 2 questions the same? Yes or no? Do you need me to repeat them?
Before I answer, say both questions again.
Do you believe a man could take that kind of fall and get up and walk away? Question number 2. Okay. Is it possible that a man can take that kind of fall and get up and walk away?
I would say no.
They are or they are not the same question?
I think they are.
You think they are the same question?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll leave both of those alone. So what we had tonight was 3 out of 3 total disagreements. You kind of went along with the first one, but you went along with it in a way that I'm not going to say I'm sure that was your real answer because of how you went about it, but I'll leave it alone. So what we had was three scenarios that we were in pretty much total disagreement. Would you agree that we didn't see eye to eye on all 3 of those scenarios?
Of course.
Okay. With that being said, unless you have something else to say, I'm going to bring a close to this conversation. But what I'm going to do is just make a closing statement. And after I make my statement, you can say whatever you want to say. This conversation is just like a lot of conversations that I've had all my life. And more recently, at this age and point in time in my life, I'm finding that I have what seems to be a problem communicating with people. And I am...
Really?
Yes, I'm trying to reach a point so that I can find a place of leveling off. It's important that I get along with people, whether I agree with them or not. Mm-hmm. But what I'm trying to do is I realize why I don't, because I am convinced that more people operate in their feelings, in their beliefs, and what they're thinking, and less on what's actually happened, what's actually being said, and what is actually facts. So sometimes when you present facts to people, they're so into how they feel or what they think or what's rooted inside of them that they don't care about the truth. I can sit here and have a conversation with someone and I could make a clear statement, and then somehow or another, based on how they're feeling that day, they will respond based on how they feel or what they thought they heard, and not what I said. I can repeat it 10 times, and how they feel or what they believe will dominate more so than what's actually going on. So with that being said, I am content and convinced that the problem that I'm having is that I have learned how to remove my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts, and my beliefs out of conversations and focus more on what I'm actually saying and what's actually going on, even in life. You know, there's this saying where people say at the end of our lives, some guy said that we worry, most things we worry about never happen. I think it was 75% of the things we worry on never happen, worry about never happen. And the reason I'm having these problems is because most people are wired the same way. We are emotionally driven people. And I believe that is the reason marriages break up. That is the reason friendships break up. That is the reason countries are falling apart. I think the reason that we are probably in the situation we're in as a nation is because we're not looking at principal facts. We're looking at how each other feels and what we think. And that's why we can't come and reason together. Because the truth in the matter is we are different people, but we have the same needs for the most part. We all need the same thing. But we're so caught up in the how we feel that we don't care about truth, facts, principles, and realistic of what's actually going on. So much so, and this conversation, along with many conversations I have, prove it. Because regardless of how you say something, someone will hear something different. Regardless of how you present it based on the principles you're presenting it on, someone's feelings will dominate, and what they think is so much more powerful than what's going on. So long story short, I'm having these conversations to actually determine how much am I going to change? Am I going to change all the way who I am? Or am I just going to go right to the line to where I can kind of sort of dumb down? And I'm using that as a lack of a better word because I can't think. I almost have to change my general perception of reality just to play into how people feel and what they think and what they believe. I can know the truth.
Well, can this interviewee speak on it?
Well, I'm going to let you have the closing statement because in closing, all I'm saying is I'm paying attention to how people listen, how people respond to what they hear versus how they feel, what they believe, and what they think. Facts, principle facts, realization, reality, those things are important and they mean something. When our ego, our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, and our beliefs start to creep into reality, that's when we have problems. And I am clear. I'm trying to become a person who is more fact-based and who is more reality-based as opposed to who is emotionally driven. And that is what I think the problem is. And I've got to find a balance. And I have not found that balance yet.